EMR setup, preferred pharmacy. In order to help expedite writing prescriptions, Prognosis provides two levels of preferred pharmacies. The first of these is patient preferred pharmacy. This is defined under the patient register, and each patient can have a maximum of up to 10 pharmacies that they like to use, and you can prioritize them according to the patient's preference. There's also clinic level preferred pharmacies, and this consists of the ability of importing geographically relevant pharmacies from the national directory that SureScripts provides once you are enabled for the electronic prescriptions, or you can create ad hoc pharmacies. When it comes to writing the prescription, the pharmacy that defaults is going to be based upon the patient's status within the clinic. If it's a new patient, then no pharmacy will default the first time. For existing patients, it will default the pharmacy from the patient's most recently written prescription within the practice for that particular doctor, or it will be the first pharmacy within the patient's preferred list. I've logged in here to Prognosis now as Dr. Cooper, and we're going to discuss how to set up these preferred pharmacies at both levels. When it comes to defining patient pharmacy, we're going to do this under the patient register module. And we're going to open up our patient, Annalise Keating. Now, of course, this would require appropriate rights to patient demographics. By default, all administrative staff will have this feature. Clinical staff can have the permissions given if needed. The preferred pharmacy icon is up here at the top, and the reason we know that there are none defined yet is you'll notice the icon is grayed out. Once one or more preferred pharmacies has been defined for the patient, this icon will display in red. Notice there is a pharmacy autocomplete field. So I'm just going to click my binocular, which opens up my nationwide database as provided by SureScripts. And I'm just going to search for her preferred pharmacy. Now let's say Annalise is in the state of Tennessee and she is in Nashville. So we can limit it to our Nashville pharmacies. And we're just going to go ahead and choose Midtown as her preferred pharmacy and click OK. Now notice that Midtown Pharmacy does have the ERX label beside it, indicating it takes electronic prescriptions. Maybe for physical prescriptions, however, Annalise prefers a local pharmacy. It might even be a mom and pop pharmacy or one at the local hospital that may not be equipped to take ERX. Now notice this time on my creation test pharmacy, I do not have the ERX label. Now if she prefers Midtown to be her preference, then we can move it up in the preference list. And since you can have up to a maximum of 10 pharmacies per patient, you have that opportunity of moving up and down to get them to the sequence the patient likes. Now notice that my icon has turned red to indicate Annalise has preferred pharmacies. Now we're going to set up our clinic preferred pharmacies, and that is under Settings Configuration. As with all things under Settings Configuration, this does require administrative access, which currently Dr. Cooper does have. And we're going to do this under our Vendor Master Pharmacy. Now initially for a brand new client, this screen is going to be empty. You have two options with regards to building your clinic preferred pharmacies. One, you'll notice at the bottom we have the Add New button, where you can simply add any pharmacy that you want ad hoc. Now if you do that, they will not be able to accept the prescriptions electronically. So the second mechanism is to import out of the SureScript National Directory the pharmacies that you work with. That way you have those that are certified through the SureScript network to accept the e-prescriptions. So we're going to look at both of those options. Now here in my training environment, I've already got a few preferred pharmacies built, but just to show you how you do it, you would click the Add New button, which opens up a blank pharmacy screen. The code must be unique. So you can just choose an abbreviation of the pharmacy name or a unique number. Add in the name of the pharmacy. Of course, you can put in your contact of the pharmacist if needed. You can also go ahead and enter the address, phone number, fax, and so on, and save it. That's all there is to creating an ad hoc preferred pharmacy. Now notice at the bottom, I have the import button. This allows me to bring in out of the SureScript nationwide directory of pharmacies, those specific pharmacies that I would like. Now I just want to mention that in addition to having the administrative rights to updating the pharmacy master, this import button will only be enabled once SureScript e-prescribing has been enabled for your practice. So if you happen to come in here with administrative rights, but the import button is disabled, you will need to contact your implementation manager or technical support and tell them that you need to have SureScript functionality turned on for your practice. So I'm going to click the import button. Notice in the upper right, we have 2,800 pages of 25 pharmacies per page. So that's a substantial amount of pharmacies in the country. And if you notice as you're just glancing through the screen, all states and cities are represented. Over here to the far right, we have all types of pharmacies: retail, fax, mail order, and so on. So if you click OK at this level, you will import all of the pharmacies within the directory, which is perfectly fine because then you can choose as you need to on the prescription level. Some clients, however, like to restrict it to just their local pharmacies. So you can filter this screen geographically. Now, to help speed up your search, I do recommend that in your type column, you filter by retail initially. That will help eliminate any of the mail orders or fax-only pharmacies that you don't want to send your patients to. And then once you have indexed this to your retail pharmacies, you can then further filter it down by state. I'll just go ahead and put in Florida, and then by city. And notice now in the upper right, I'm down to a single page of pharmacies because these are all of the retail pharmacies in the city of St. Petersburg, Florida. Then I simply just select the ones that I want. And instead of bringing in the entire library, I'm going to bring in only the ones that I've chosen. Now, if I choose my binocular, I don't see those because the pharmacy search is a local search. This is where you can create your ad hoc pharmacies. The ones that I just imported are going to be available to you when we go to the prescription screen, but they are linked to the SureScript directory. The binocular search is looking at your prognosis-defined ad hoc pharmacies only. Now, the last thing we want to look at is how the user accesses these preferred pharmacies at the prescription level. I've opened up Jessica Pearson's chart, and on the prescription screen, we notice the pharmacy selection at the top is currently blank. But notice my preferred pharmacy label has a check mark next to it. That indicates that there is at least one preferred pharmacy defined on Jessica's chart. Now, when I click that button, it defaults to the patient preferred pharmacy, but notice in the upper left, I also have an icon to access clinic preferred pharmacies. So if you have defined ad hoc pharmacies, as we just discussed, you can access them here through the preferred pharmacy button. Now, in addition, the clinic preferred is an autocomplete field. So you can actually type in the name of the pharmacy if you know it instead of clicking the button, if you prefer using your keyboard instead of the mouse. Now, other than the preferred pharmacy, whether patient or clinic level, we also have the binocular. Now, the binocular is what will open up the pharmacy search for those SureScript pharmacies that you have imported, whether you chose a geographical subset or if you brought in the entire national directory. One last note I'd like to make is, as regards creating prescriptions, the pharmacy will default for an existing patient based on settings configuration preferences. This is covered in the Creating a New Prescription video in more detail. So in review, as regards preferred pharmacy setup, patients can have preferred pharmacies under the patient register level. You can have clinic preferred, which allows you to import from a national directory provided by SureScript or create local pharmacies ad hoc. And the default behavior depends upon configuration preferences.